and welcome. My name is Magdalena Ponurska and I am here with the Global Montessori Network. Today with me I have Joanne Shengo.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. We wanted to take a little bit of time today and talk to you about reopening our schools. We are all very excited about the opportunity to reopen, however, a little bit anxious. Therefore, we decided that we'll take a few minutes and talk about best practices, tips, ideas about how to reopen our schools in a safe, healthy, and effective manner. Joanne will share with us today best practices. Thank you for being with us here today, Joanne.
Thank you, Magdalena. Hi, everybody. My name is Joanne Shengo. I am the head of school at the Montessori School Rochester and the founder of the Global Montessori Network with Magdalena. And we started out this path when the pandemic started really gaining more worldwide news, and we started to realize that we needed to make some changes and at least begin preparing for what became an eventuality, which was the closures of schools. As we went through the steps to go into a school closure and move into a distance learning platform, we had an outline, and we kind of followed those steps and procedures and effectively started pretty quickly. I think it was 3 working days before we launched our distance learning platform. As we did that, we considered all of you. One of my first thoughts as we got our school moving over to this new platform was supporting other schools around the world so that schools could can place themselves in the best possible situation to reopen their schools and to preserve the Montessori method. I did feel that by moving to a distance learning platform, one of 2 things could happen. We could lose some of our very treasured Montessori schools globally, or we could maximize the presence of Montessori, educate our families in a deeper and more intimate inside way, and expand the Montessori method. I do believe, at least here in Michigan, that that's what we've done. We know that our distance learning platform is stronger and offers more than what the public schools and many local private schools are able to offer or have begun offering. And that has been supportive not just for our families and for our students, but also for our guides. So we've done all of that, and now we're in the position of looking and saying, well, this pandemic is going to end eventually, and we've seen that it has begun throughout the world where the stay-at-home orders have been lifted and schools have been opening. We looked to our state and we started to assess the data and the information coming from our government and the climate of the communities, the people living in our communities, to see whether that was going to be a realistic option for us and at what date. Through all of that, we have set into motion some of what we believe the tools that we need in order to prepare us to reopen in the best possible way with the most success.
So where do we start?
The first thing that we did was set out emails to our families as well as to our guides with surveys, with Survey Monkeys. And the surveys had a series of questions that we're going to share with you that asked whether people were comfortable coming to school, what type of situation they would be comfortable with us providing, what restrictions they would or would not want to see for their children. And collecting that data would be useful for us to project how many students we would expect, whether we would possibly need to continue the distance learning platform in some measure. And in connection to the data we received from our guiding teams, we were able to figure out what guides are comfortable coming to school and what guides would be more comfortable staying home until a later date or unspecified date. That data, connecting them together, would let us know what our school needed to provide on campus and what we would need to project and provide off campus.
So now that we have this fabulous data, what do we do with it?
It's going to help us create our work plans, our staffing plans for our classrooms, as well as the possible continuation of a distance learning platform, and being able to look at both of those things to see who is able and willing to come to school comparatively to the data of the number of students we would project to have. That's going to help you plan for the remainder of your school year, as well as planning for your summer expectations.
So do you have any other additional advice about looking at some other data points, like for example, prior to the pandemic, would you look at the data that we have about who, when, and how, and why was absent?
That information is going to be very important for everybody. You're going to want to analyze pre-pandemic your enrollment patterns, your attendance patterns, I should say more clearly. What were the attendance patterns of your student body and the attendance patterns of your guides and supporting team members? Using that data and projecting into the upcoming season, you'll be able to enroll and staff accordingly, and also take into consideration additional staff members that you're going to need in your staffing plan on site. This is not the time to be asking people to come into work sick. As guides, we're dedicated and we want to maintain continuity. During this season, with this new virus that's out, we want to be as precautionary as possible. So you have to have that plan B. You need to staff accordingly and have the extra team members to be able to send people home. So that comparison and understanding of your pre-pandemic absenteeism and what you can expect is going to be really important to figure out your staffing plans so that you can maintain the Montessori method, the environments for your children, while still keeping the most clean and healthy environment for everybody involved.
What do we do about our policies? We have policy for best practices about sickness for families and for our faculty. Should we look at them?
Absolutely. It is really important to look at, again, your health policies, your absentee policies, and your sick policies for both your guiding team members as well as for your families. Look at them pre-pandemic. Pay close attention to what points in those policies were really effective and which ones were not paid much attention to and which ones were not effective at all. Assess all of that data and rewrite your sick policies and your leave policies for post-pandemic and returning to school. And that's going to put you and I think everybody, your guiding team members as well as your families, in a much more comfortable situation or mindset in returning to school, because they're going to see that we've made the necessary adaptations for any if and when scenarios.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing those. Let me recap the steps. Step number 1, survey. Survey for parents, survey for our faculty. Step number 2, let's look at our numbers in terms of who and when and how was absent prior to pandemic, and then how it looked during. Look at the different channels that you have available to look closely at the data. And then lastly, in our next segment, we will continue with step-by-step guidelines on how to reopen our schools in a safe, healthy, and mindful manner. So we look forward to reconnecting with you tomorrow for step 3 and 4. Additionally, we'll share all the materials on our Facebook group.
Yes, so what you'll look forward to tomorrow is the physical preparation of your environment and possibly a few other tidbits based on time. We don't want to overwhelm you with information or lengthy live videos. We want to aid you in doing this in as systematic a way as possible. Thank you all very much. We hope that this information helped you, and if there are any questions you might have or would like to see segments on, go ahead and put it in the comments or shoot me a private message, and we will do our very best to address them, because if you're thinking it, odds are many others are as well. Thank you all very much. We will see you tomorrow.